Donald Trump has been indicted again. Special counsel Jack Smith brought a superseding indictment against Donald Trump in Washington, D.C., charging the same 4 felonies he did 1 year ago over allegations the former president illegally attempted to overturn the 2020 election. Trump called Smith's indictment an act of desperation and an effort to resurrect a dead witch hunt, writing, "This is merely an attempt to interfere with the election and distract the American people from the catastrophes Kamala Harris has inflicted on our nation, like the border invasion, migrant crime, rampant inflation, and the threat of World War III." The indictment is slightly shorter than the previous one Smith brought last August. As the special counsel removed portions of it after the Supreme Court ruled in July, some of the initial indictment included activity protected by presidential immunity. Trump also mentioned the Supreme Court case in his response, and recent revelations from Facebook CEO saying, "Interestingly, this comes at the exact same time as Mark Zuckerberg has admitted to concealing massive amounts of information, such as Hunter Biden's laptop from hell, which is a direct acknowledgement that the 2020 presidential election was manipulated and rigged by the DOJ." The filing marks his first push to explain to the panel why he believes District Judge Eileen Cannon was wrong to dismiss his first case, on the grounds he was unlawfully appointed by Attorney General Merrick Garland. Cannon, a Trump appointee who has been overturned by the 11th Circuit on matters related to the former president before, tossed out the case, accusing Trump of improperly storing classified documents at his Mar-a-Lago home, just weeks after Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas questioned Smith's authority to preside over the case in Trump versus the United States. The judge noted if Garland wanted Smith to remain on the case, he would need the approval of the Senate by a majority vote to be considered a constitutional appointee under the Appointments Clause. In his brief to the 11th Circuit, Smith dug into deep precedent in history to defend Garland's appointment of him, without the advice and consent of the Senate. Smith's office also reasoned there are at least 4 statutes that give the Justice Department authority to appoint special counsels such as Smith. Smith, who was once bullish about bringing the case to a trial before the election, is now taking a more calculated approach in both the documents case and the separate 2020 election subversion case in Washington, D.C. It is unlikely for the case to be back on track before the end of the year, let alone by the November 5th election day. If Trump is reelected, the future of the case would become even more uncertain, given the likelihood he would request the indictment's dismissal. The case includes dozens of felony charges accusing Trump of illegally retaining classified documents from his presidency at his Florida estate and that he obstructed the government's efforts to retrieve them.